Welcome to the Pulse of Cyber, episode 4 podcast. Glad to have you here with me to do this again. This has been a great experience so far for me, and a lot of you have reached out to me, and it has been just overwhelming the amount of support that I've been getting for this channel. So I just wanted to say that, take the moment to let you guys know I'm going to continue doing this every 2 weeks, same time. I'll release this Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, I wanted to get into a few things today. Of course, by the thread, you could see this is about how I passed the Security Plus CompTIA certification. And in a nutshell, just to give you an idea how long it took me to prepare for that, it took me about 3.5 weeks. Now, I know that sounds very odd, 3.5 weeks. I did have about 2 years of studying cybersecurity when I was going for my bachelor's before I took the Security Plus exam. So for some of you that are just getting into cybersecurity or making a transition from another industry, it may take you a bit longer than me to grasp all the concepts in security, understanding different topics, network capture, vulnerability scanning, host discovery, all those things. Um, so I would highly recommend that if you are just getting into it, that you allot a certain amount of time each day to do it, because I studied probably about 6 to 8 hours a day, including the weekends, for about 3.5 weeks before I took the Security Plus. So it may take you maybe 2, maybe 3 months. Maybe you'll grasp the information very quickly and take it within 30 days. But be mindful that I did have 2 years. I did have 2 years of cybersecurity training and study before I took the Security Plus. So with that aside, I do just want to maybe get into some of the resources that I used. One of the biggest resources I used was the official CompTIA Cert Master Learn lab. And I know this is a costly lab, but when I show you, I'll explain it and you'll understand more about why it's so significant. We're also going to get into SimLab, and I will also let you know about other resources. And I'll leave a lot of this information down in the link to the description. I'll also leave a link to those resources that I posted in a LinkedIn post months ago. I posted a link for all my Security Plus resources. So all that information will be down there for you guys to look at and use. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move over to the Cert Master Learn lab. All right. So what are we looking at right now? We're looking at the Cert Master Labs for Security Plus. Now, I did get this at a discounted price, probably about half off. I believe this cost me $102. I don't believe there was tax, but don't quote me on that. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of labs here, and I actually didn't even do all of them in my preparation for Security Plus. But I guarantee you I will be going back and using a lot of these, because there is some overlap into pen test and the CYSA Plus. A lot of labs that you can use to prepare for those as well. So I see this as being not just beneficial for the now, but also later in your future roles or preparation for other exams. So as you can see here, it's a quite a long list. And it's got everything under the sun. You got network reconnaissance and vulnerability scanning, passwords with a password cracking utility, configuring a firewall, endpoint protection. I'm definitely going to get into that one. That sounds pretty good. Also, securing the network infrastructure. I'll probably be hitting that one as well. I'll probably go down just a whole list of these. I probably need to just set a day and go through all of these, and they're quite they're quite long and extensive. So if you want to take a quick look at one, let's do auditing passwords. Is it gonna log me in this time? All right. So yeah, it takes about a minute or two to spool up the pre-configured lab, but I did use quite a few of these labs. I was trying to go in order when I really should have been picking and choosing which topics I was weak on. Um, but using other resources, I was able to account for that. So definitely know this can't be your only resource. Even the official CompTIA Security Plus study guide, don't just use that. I would recommend using a couple different websites, such as Udemy. I know a lot of people use Jason Dion, Professor Messer. I use Professor Messer, but not like everyone else. A lot of people use his practice exams. I use this Discord server to go into their study groups. I highly recommend their study groups, Professor Messer's Discord server. There's a lot of good resources there and a lot of people willing to help. There's people there almost every day going over practice exams, and I just found that to be extremely helpful. Um, so here we are. We got a Kali Linux pulled up, and you can see the instructions here on the right side. Um, it'll tell you username and password under resources. You just put in whatever they got there. So this is defaulted as root and password. Of course, you're going to want to use something, on the job that's a bit more complex than that, but this is just for lab purposes. And we're in. So you can see here they give you, the objectives, given a scenario, analyze potential indicators to determine the type of attack. And of course, you can just go through these. Please fill out the survey so that we can get to know you better and celebrate significant events. Okay, so that's a part of this. Okay. All right, so you documented a survey results. So you're taking a table of information. Okay, and you're going to determine the type of attack. All right, so we signed in, and as you go through, I really like these because you can check off as you do things. You can just check them off as you go. And I think there's a copy and paste feature. Let me see if there is. Is there not? Maybe they changed it. I'm a huge fan of copy and paste. I'm sure a lot of you are. Alright, so there's no copy and paste, so we're just gonna type this in. I just want you to see how user friendly this is and how beneficial it is, because they give you this subscription after you pay it. You get it for, I believe, a year. You get this for a full year to use. So it's not like once you complete the labs, you can't go back. You have the license for a year to continue to use these labs and go over them. Alright, so this was adding a user. And then they give you the password. Alright. So yeah, so these labs are really great. Man, I can't tell you enough. There's a lot of good free resources out there. And of course, I'll get into those. There's a couple other YouTube channels you can go to prepare for your Security Plus exam. But you need to also determine what's your best learning style. Before you decide on what resources you can use or any of the resources I'm giving you, understand your learning style. I know a lot of people who are audio learners, so they like audiobooks, or they like to use the course, video courses online, like instructor led. Me personally, I am a visual and literary learner, so I like to see something done, and then I like to emulate it and show show basically that I know how to do it and do it myself after seeing it done. And also literary, where I just love reading. As you can see, the books behind me, I just love reading. So yeah, I highly recommend CompTIA, Learn Labs, very very good. Cert Master Labs for Security Plus. I'm gonna get into these, I assure you. Probably go back through that auditing password one. But as you see on this list, it's a very extensive list. You go into, attack um, indicators, identifying attack vectors and things like that. This is very comprehensive, and it will be useful to you, especially when you know your weaknesses. If you know what domains you have weaknesses in, you can come to these labs and reinforce them and learn what you need to learn. Now, um, I've mentioned this before, Pluralsight. Everyone who knows me or follows me on LinkedIn, you know that Pluralsight is my number one go-to for CompTIA, as far as labs and practice exams. Here, this is a practice exam for Security Plus. You can go in there. It'll take you to um, another tab. Another tab will pop up. I'll actually show you here real quick. And these are actually, in my opinion, kind of difficult. These practice questions. I can actually say that I had a hard time answering these. So if you go into this, you just want to click on exam simulation. All right, now you can customize it, or you can just simulate an exam. We're just going to go to simulate exam. And once you go in there, you got 90 questions, and it's timed. As you can see here, you have an hour and a half to answer 90 questions. So these are pretty good. I have to say, these are pretty good. Um, but as far as labs go, there's a slew of labs here. I mean, incident response, implementation of secure solutions. You could be here a while. The one I really enjoyed was using a SIM. That's very popular nowadays. And Windows Event Logs. Windows Event Logs. This one might be better than the Sim Labs, because if you have a laptop or a computer with a Windows operating system, you're going to be able to access the Windows Event Log. You should be able to go in there and read logs, and this shows you how to do that. I found this to be incredible as far as helping me understand where things are in the event viewer, and it was great. So definitely, there's a 10-day trial, I believe. If you go to Pluralsight, use the 10-day trial just to test it out, or maybe get in like a couple practice exams to at least help you out. That 10-day free trial will be helpful, and I don't believe it's very pricey to have like a monthly subscription. So as I said, there's free resources out there that you can use, but I think investing in really good resources that actually help you, such as Pluralsight, the Cert Master Learn, is very beneficial to me, and will be beneficial to you. So definitely, I know you may not have a lot of money to pay for it, but try and find a way. That's really all I can say, because I took the Security Plus exam when I had like no money. I was working part-time. I you know just set aside some money, um, when I really didn't have it, to even take the Security Plus. So thankfully I got it at a discounted price, as well as a Cert Master Learn. But I was on hard times. I was between a rock and a hard place when I took the Security Plus. But once I did, a few months later, I was able to get a role, and I was getting interviews. It was great. So it was great once I got the role. But before that, it was tough for about 6 or 7 months. So definitely hang in there. Try and use these resources as much as possible. There's also Cybercraft um, YouTube channel. I love Cybercraft. He's really good at explaining PBQs, and I can't tell you enough. I don't think I would have been confident with those PBQs without a channel like his. There's also a YouTube channel for acronyms, so I recommend you take a look at my LinkedIn post. I'm going to leave the link down in the description for that so you can understand all the acronyms out there. There's network protocols, there's frameworks that you have to know for the Security Plus, so I definitely recommend that. But outside of that, I do have a hard truth for you. I've been trying to get back into these hard truths, so definitely make sure that you find a mentor. You know, a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be somebody super tenured. I mean, preferably you want someone that has been in the industry for at least a few years, I think, and lean on them on how they got into cybersecurity, and vet their background, make sure they're legit, and also be mindful of their time, because being a security analyst or a security engineer or whatever they may be in, a penetration tester, whatever you're looking to focus on, whatever they do, be mindful of their time. So I would always recommend texting or DMing through LinkedIn. Don't ask them for their number like, hey, can I call you? Hey, can I sit down for an hour? Because they have families too, they got friends too, they got things that they need to take care of, and I'm sure they're probably prepping just like you for maybe an exam in the future. So be mindful of that, but go out there and get yourself a mentor. Once you do that, that will help you guide your path, and you'll understand what your niche is too. If you don't have a niche yet, a mentor can help you lean into that and find out what it is that you want to do or like to do, and what you're skillful with, and what you may bring from another industry. So yeah, definitely keep in touch with me on LinkedIn. I'll leave all these links down in the description. And thank you for joining me here on the Pulse of Cyber podcast. Keep your finger on the pulse of cyber, and I'll see you next time.